Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be diving deep into logo design portfolios.
Ooh, portfolios.
Yeah, portfolios. And for this deep dive, we're looking at an article from the Logo Creative blog called Building a Logo Design Portfolio That Gets You Hired 2025.
That sounds pretty useful.
Yeah, it's really great. I think whether you're just starting out or you've already got a portfolio that you're working on, there's some great stuff in this article for everybody. And we're going to unpack some of the things that it talks about, like why portfolio is so much more than just showing off pretty pictures,
Right.
and how to use things like case studies to like really stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, I think people sometimes forget that, a portfolio is more than just like a gallery of your work.
Yeah.
It's like it should tell a story. It should show potential clients like why you're the right designer for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this article really nails that idea. Like your portfolio is like it's like a visual resume, right? It's got to convince those potential clients that you understand their needs, that you can solve their problems.
Absolutely. And it's not just about, showing off your artistic skills or how creative you are. It's about demonstrating your strategic thinking, your problem-solving skills, and, your ability to translate a client's vision into a compelling logo.
Okay, so let's imagine for a second. Let's say you're a client, right?
Right.
You're like this modern tech startup. You need a logo that embodies innovation, cutting-edge technology, all that good stuff.
Right.
What kind of portfolio do you think would really grab your attention as that client?
If I were that client, I would be drawn to portfolios that feature logos for similar companies. Not
Right.
just because of the style, but because it shows that the designer understands my industry.
Right.
They get it. They
Right.
know the nuances of the tech world. It's like, okay, this person speaks my language.
Yeah, it's like proof that you've walked the walk,
Right?
not just talked the talk.
Exactly.
Okay, so the article also talks about showing off your design process.
Yes.
Why do you think that's so important?
I think it really builds trust. Clients want to know that your designs aren't just like random pretty things.
Wow.
They want to see that they're based on solid reasoning, a clear understanding of their brand.
Okay.
It's like, giving them a peek behind the curtain, showing them how the magic happens.
I like that. Okay, so how can a designer like actually show their process in their portfolio
Yeah.
in a way that makes sense?
Well, this article suggests a really clear structure.
Right.
You start by stating the problem.
Okay.
What was the client's challenge?
Yeah.
What were they trying to achieve with this logo? What was their goal?
Makes sense. You got to set the stage first.
Yeah, exactly. And then you show your early explorations. Sketches, rough drafts,
I see.
even those ideas that didn't quite make the cut.
Uh-huh.
It shows that you've explored different avenues before arriving at the final solution.
Right. You didn't just like magically come up with the perfect logo on the first try.
Exactly. And it's also important to explain your key decisions.
Okay.
Why did you choose specific colors, fonts, shapes?
Right.
You might say something like, well, the sharp lines represent precision while the gradient symbolizes growth.
I like that.
It just adds depth and meaning to the final design.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you get to like see into the designer's brain a little bit.
Exactly. And then, of course, you present the polished logo,
Right.
ideally in real-world mock-ups.
Oh, yeah. Mock-ups.
Yeah, so that's basically like, a visual representation of how the logo would look in context,
Right.
like on a website, a business card, a t-shirt.
Okay.
It helps the client visualize its versatility and its impact.
Yeah. It's like bringing it to life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
all this amazing work needs a home.
Right. It needs a place to live.
Exactly. And the article is a huge proponent of a personal website.
Okay. Why do you think that's so crucial?
Well, think of it this way. Your website is your digital storefront. It's the one space that you control entirely,
Right.
where you can really curate your work and tell your story as a designer.
It makes you look really professional, too.
Yes. And it gives potential clients a dedicated place to learn more about you and your services.
Okay. But what about those other platforms, like Behance Dribble?
Right.
Are those not good enough?
They definitely have their place. They're great for showcasing your work, connecting with other designers. But a personal website acts as your central hub.
Okay.
It's where you can really delve into your process, share your thoughts on design, and offer potential clients a more comprehensive picture of who you are.
Okay, so it's like the difference between a quick glance
Yeah.
and like a deep dive.
Right, exactly. And the article actually tells a pretty scary story about a designer who lost a client because they didn't have a personal website.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The client wanted to see more than just images. They wanted to understand the designer's background, their process, their thinking.
Yeah.
And a website provides that platform for deeper engagement.
It adds a level of legitimacy, too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sold on personal websites. Let's be real. Design matters, too,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
The article talks about the power of white space. What are your thoughts on that?
White space is essential.
Okay.
It's so much more than just empty space. Strategic use of white space can make your portfolio feel elegant, sophisticated, and easy to navigate.
Okay, so how much white space is enough? Any tips for using it well?
Think of it like a gallery.
Yeah.
You want to give each piece, either logo room to breathe.
Right.
Let it stand out. Don't cram too much onto one page.
Okay.
A good rule of thumb is to maintain consistent margins and spacing between elements.
So it's like giving each logo its own little spotlight.
Exactly. Now let's talk about the secret sauce of a killer portfolio. Case studies.
Ooh, case study.
Yeah, case studies. Case studies.
Okay, I have to admit, I always thought like case studies were just for like big agencies,
Right.
not really for like freelancers like me. But this article makes a pretty strong argument for why they're so important.
Yeah, they really are like mini marketing campaigns for each project. It's not just about showing the final logo. It's about demonstrating the value you bring.
Okay, I'm listening.
So how would a case study be structured?
Yeah, how you make one.
Well, the article outlines a really simple but effective structure.
Okay.
Challenge solution results.
Okay.
You start by outlining the client's problem or goal.
Right.
What were they struggling with? What did they want to achieve with this new logo?
So you're like setting the scene, basically.
Exactly. Then you move on to the solution.
Okay.
How did you tackle the challenge? How did you come up with a design that met their needs? You can show sketches, explain your thought process, highlight any unique design choices you made.
So like pull back the curtain a little bit.
Exactly. And finally, you present the results. This is where you get to show off the impact of your work. Did the new logo increase brand recognition? Did it lead to more sales or website traffic?
Okay, so numbers are always good. But what if you don't have like concrete data to share?
That's where those client testimonials come in handy.
Ooh, testimonials.
A glowing review from a happy client can be just as powerful as a statistic. It adds credibility and shows that you're not just talented, but you're easy to work with and you deliver on your promises.
Yeah, you're a good person to work with.
Exactly.
It's not just about the work, it's about like the whole package.
Right. And speaking of the whole package,
Yeah.
remember that personal website we were talking about?
Yes. Our digital storefront?
Exactly. Well, the article gives a great example of how the author actually used his website to improve his portfolio based on client feedback.
Oh, yeah. I remember this. He added a dedicated logo portfolio page.
Yes. A client had mentioned that they loved his case studies,
Uh-huh.
but they wished they could see all his logos in one place.
Right. Makes sense.
So he created this separate page just for logos, made it super easy for clients to quickly scan through his work.
So smart.
It really is. And it's a great example of how you can constantly refine your portfolio based on, feedback you get. It shows that you're really invested in creating a positive experience for potential clients.
Yeah. It shows that you're listening.
Exactly. And it all goes back to that user experience, making your website easy to navigate, visually appealing. Remember the power of white space?
Oh, yes. White space is king.
Exactly. Give those logos space to shine. Think of it like curating an art exhibit.
Okay.
You wouldn't just cram all the paintings together.
No.
You'd give them each room to breathe and make an impact. The same applies to your logo portfolio.
Okay. I'm getting it. I'm on board with the white space.
Right.
But let's talk about another piece of the puzzle, social media. The article talks about how to use it well.
Right.
What are your top tips for like leveraging social media?
Well, first of all, don't underestimate the power of visuals.
Yep.
Platforms like Instagram and Pinterest are perfect for showcasing your work.
Visuals are key.
Absolutely. Especially in design.
What about LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is a must-have.
Yeah.
For any freelancer or design professional, it's where you can build your network, share your expertise, and even connect with potential clients directly.
Yeah, I've definitely got some work through LinkedIn.
They too.
I have to admit, I get kind of caught up in the numbers game on social media sometimes,
Yeah, I get that.
Like how many likes do I have? How many followers? But the article actually talks about the Hothouse Project. Can you remind me about that one?
The Hothouse Project is a great example of how you don't have to go viral to be successful. It was a really successful project. It didn't get a ton of social media attention,
Okay.
but it still led to some amazing clients.
So it's not just about the numbers.
Right. It's about the quality of the engagement. It's better to have 100 engaged followers who are genuinely interested in your work than 1,000 followers who just scroll right past your posts.
That's a good point. Now, the article also tells this really interesting story about this young designer who was like struggling to get clients, even though he had great work.
Yeah, I remember that.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this designer was posting his work on Behance and Dribble.
Okay. Popular platforms.
Very popular with designers. He was getting some positive feedback from his peers, but no clients were biting.
So he had the talent, but something was missing.
He was missing context. He was just showcasing the final logos without any explanation.
So it was just pretty pictures.
Exactly. He wasn't telling the story behind them. He wasn't telling potential clients, who the client was, what their challenges were,
Right.
or how his design helped them achieve their goals.
I see.
So he was showcasing his skills, but he wasn't really selling himself.
Right. He wasn't making that connection.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to answer those key questions when you're presenting your work.
Okay. What are those questions?
Who is the client? What was their problem? What was your process? How did your logo solve their problem? And what was the impact?
It's like painting a complete picture.
Exactly. And when you do that, you're not just showcasing your skills, you're telling a story that resonates with potential clients.
I love that. It's about storytelling.
It is, and it's about building trust.
Yeah.
When you're transparent about your process and you clearly articulate the value you bring, you establish yourself as a credible professional.
It's about building relationships.
Exactly. Not just showcasing logos.
Did our young designer friend figure things out in the end?
He did.
Okay, good.
Once he started adding context to his work and building a personal website, he landed 3 new clients within a month.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was a complete turnaround.
So it's proof that it works.
It really is. It shows you the power of storytelling and having a platform where you can control the narrative and showcase your work in the best possible light.
Hearing that story about the young designer, it really drives home this point that building a great portfolio, it's not just a one-time thing.
Right. It's a process.
Yeah, it's like this constant thing, right? You're refining your work. You're updating your projects. You're evolving your presentation as you grow as a designer.
Totally. It's like a portfolio is never really finished.
Yeah. And it made me think of this quote that I heard. It was like, a portfolio is a designer's autobiography.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's a reflection of your journey, your experiences, and your style.
It's like your design DNA.
Exactly.
Okay,
so let's say I'm sitting here listening to this, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to start building my portfolio, or I'm ready to revamp my existing portfolio. What are some of the key takeaways from this article that I should keep in mind?
Well, first and foremost, remember that your portfolio is more than just a collection of pretty pictures.
We've said this a few times, but it's important.
It is. It needs to demonstrate your problem-solving abilities, your strategic thinking, your ability to understand a client's needs and translate that into a visual identity.
So show the why behind the design, not just the what.
Exactly. Second, don't underestimate the power of a personal website. We talked about this.
Yeah.
But it's your digital storefront. It's the one place you have complete control.
Your own little corner of the internet.
Exactly, where you can curate your work and tell your story.
Yeah. And then third, make sure you're using social media strategically.
Yeah.
It's a great way to showcase little snippets of your work, attract attention, but always direct people back to your website.
Right. It's like a teaser for the main event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, beyond those key points, the article also talks about the importance of storytelling, using white space effectively.
Yes, white space.
And crafting those compelling case studies that showcase the impact of your work.
It all ties together.
It does.
Yes.
It's all about presenting that complete picture of who you are as a designer and what you can bring to the table.
Oh.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to mention that the article has a bunch of extra resources.
Oh, yeah.
Like they have links to articles about creating graphic design portfolios, writing case studies, structuring presentations.
That's so helpful.
I know. It's like they really went above and beyond with this article.
They did.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a question.
Okay.
How can you take all of these amazing insights and craft a portfolio that not only showcases your talent, but also really connects with potential clients on a deeper level?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is. It's about telling your story in a way that resonates, that highlights your unique skills and perspective.
And ultimately makes clients feel like you're the perfect partner to help them achieve their goals.
Exactly. And that's the magic of a truly great portfolio.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of logo design portfolios. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.